Hello, welcome back to the third edition of the video series. This time we'll be discussing social class. This is a very broad topic. I think this is a subject that everybody fits into and everybody can contribute to. This is something you'll have to think about in your classroom a lot, and you just always got to account for it. Me personally, I am from probably an upper middle class family. Um, we never really hurt for money until my family got divorced. Then I switched. It was a social switch. I went from upper middle class to, in some sense, in a lower middle class, um, which was good for me to see what change that would do and for me to get a broader view on what kids in my classroom might be walking into. Um, a few of the basic ones are the rich, middle class, and poor. You got upper middle class. You got upper uh, lower class. I mean, there's the spectrum's humongous, and I don't really think there's a set to where you a set place. You're constantly flowing. Um, there's not a number that defines it per se. As a middle class, working middle class child, I a lot of times would have to hear my family complain about money, but the my lights were never turned off. Um, this is this is an interesting subject because some of your lower class students that you'll have will be the most um, creative because they've had to be. They've they've had to work a job and be creative and figure out ways to do stuff different ways to survive. So that they might add an element to your class that maybe an all upper class room wouldn't have. Um, Another thing you got to watch out for is you know your assignments. You got to be you got to pay attention to where you're teaching because you can't assign a lot of online assignments if you're in a lower class neighborhood or lower class school and they don't have the equipment or the technology to get what you're doing. You can't give an assignment um, over an online thing if only half your class has access to that. Or you have to provide the access for them to get it done. Whereas in upper class, if you have a bunch of upper class students, they might have all the resources. They might not need extra, you know, time in class because they all got a computer at the house. This is something you have to be aware of, and you also got to view everybody's opinion as same. You can't, just because they're lower class, their opinion doesn't matter. Because, like I've stated before, a lot of those kids actually have a more creative mind due to the lack of money of where that doesn't solve their problem. They have to actually look and search hard to find the problem and then fix it. Um, when I when I become a teacher, um, I will apply some of the Bennett framework things of equality pedagogy. So I plan on being competent, which is something this class has taught me, was I need to be competent of my students, and I need to know what they do, and I need to make sure that if they need the assistance, they have it. So if we have like laptops that we can rent out, maybe that's a way I can get a lower class student to get their work done. Or I mean, just stuff like that. If I need to give them class time to do it, then that's what I need to do. I need to be equal to everybody in the class and make sure everybody has the same opportunity to do a good job on the work that I give. Um, this class taught me a lot about social class. It even goes down to the norms. What social norms? You know, a social norm for a lower class might be completely different from the upper class. You know, it's valued. I know in a lot of lower classes, it's valued to get dirty, and that's where I came from partially. Is we might have had the pay of a middle upper class, but I think we had the mentality my from where my dad was probably in a lower class that we we're not afraid they weren't afraid to get dirty and do it yourself, and you know hard labor was valued, where maybe in upper class it's not like that. Upper class is don't use your brawn, use your brain. you know that's something you got to watch. Also got to watch lower class students. They might not they might not have the time that you think they do. They might be working to help support their family. So that is something you have to watch out for when you're teaching. You can't, like I said, you can't assign things, or some people assume just because they're a student that's all they're doing. Lower class people, they have to uh, really, like I said, really be creative. They have to really search and find solutions. Sometimes that's a kid in high school or junior high working. Um, Another thing that I learned from the Bennett framework about this, um, educational ec- equity and excellence for all students. It just goes further on in talking about, you know, everybody should, all my students should have excellence. That should be excellence for all my students. I need to teach them um, right. I need to make sure they all have a good opportunity. Um, just yeah, social class. Everyone has it. Um, they all bring different things. You need to be aware of it. Every student will bring something into your class from their social class, and that's the great thing about a public school is you can actually tap into that, and you should tap into that and find a way to make what they know an important part of your class so that your students can grow and so that you can grow. I know from um, from my project I've been doing outside the classroom, uh, I had to work at a homeless shelter, and that really helped me see the lower classes. And with seeing those people, what I did was I would bag food and I would take it out to them. And seeing those lower classes, it gave me appreciation for where I'm at. And I'm glad that I'm glad now I'm where I'm at. But I see that there are people that need help, and it's okay to help them, and I want to help them. So, um, and they're not all really poor or low class people or drug addicts. They've just some of them just had a bad go. So you can't judge people. Um, It's actually some of the we talked about in class. One of the things we talked about was sometimes in class or in social class, the government is built to keep a certain group of people down, and although it's not noticeable, it is there, and I think that is something that you have to be aware of. I think you need to try to treat everybody the same, and as a teacher, like I said, have a equality pedagogy. Don't just don't treat people differently. Even further class. We're all people. We all think. We all get hurt. So that wraps this video up. I will see you next time. Stay tuned.